So, Laughing Buddha, you were saying the other day to me that basically you're not a medical professional.
No, I'm not a scientist, I'm a layman. I'm not a doctor either.
Well, fortunately, here's one we prepared earlier. Dr. Tim. Welcome, Dr. Tim.
Hello, Pixie.
How are you?
Laughing Buddha.
How are you?
Dr. Tim, tell us some of the medical benefits of laughter.
Well, there's been lots of research, some of which is anecdotal, some of which is more purely scientific. It's a hard thing to test, as you can imagine. It's easy to do a blood test to measure someone's cholesterol. It's easy to do measure someone's blood pressure. But measuring the effects of stress and laughter and lifestyle issues like that is much more challenging. Having said that, lots of people have looked at it, and there is a lot of evidence out there. There's studies to show that laughter lowers your blood pressure. There's studies to show that laughter lowers your general stress hormones, particularly cortisol, which is beneficial because raised levels of cortisol put up blood pressure, they put up your blood sugar levels, they're associated with diabetes and obesity. And
wow, it's a pretty long list.
It goes on and on and on. There was a very interesting study from the University of Maryland where they looked at people who had no heart disease and compared them to people who did have heart disease, same age group, same demographic, and they assessed their level of humour, and the people who didn't have heart disease were 40% more likely to laugh in various situations than the people who did have heart disease. So they concluded from that laughing more often definitely reduces your chance of having a heart attack.
Well, that's a pretty good thing
for me.
to know, yeah.
Laughing good. He looks like a heart attack, but he's never going to have one. On top of that, there's so many other social benefits. You know, laughing people, happy people are much more attractive. They have better relationships. It's much easier to be married to a happy person than it is to be married to a miserable person. It's much easier to be friends with a happy person than a miserable person.
Are you my friend, Dr. Tim?
No. And consequently, happy people.
Can you be my friend, Dr. Tim?
Yeah. Happy people, laughing people have better social relations, and we have seen time and time again that poor social relationship is associated with that whole list of diseases I rattled off before, and on top of that, depression, anxiety, social isolation, and all the rest of it.
So isn't that a precursor, though, for most people to get to the situation where laughter... I mean, we're talking about the average people that are sitting out there now watching this. A lot of them are in that state. So are we saying that by adding laughter we can actually start to reduce some of these medical intervention situations?
Well, that's a very interesting question, and I think that there wouldn't be hard scientific data to prove that, but the assumption is yes. If we can see the association between people who laugh more often, who are generally happier and more humorous, having less of these conditions,
yes,
then the assumption is that if you begin to laugh more and find more humour in life, that you will reverse the trend that you've created.
Yes.
And the easiest one to measure that one on is blood pressure, and people have done that study. People measure blood pressure before an episode of laughter and afterwards blood pressure goes down.
Ah, so there's hard scientific evidence. Now, you got this information, what, from Google or...?
Got it from all sorts of places, but Google's a pretty handy site, and anyone that wants to get more of this information can just Google health benefits of laughter, and you'll get 2,000 links to studies and reports from all around the world. But sometimes you don't need the science. Anecdotally, we all know, don't we? You have a good laugh, and afterwards you feel more relaxed.
I do anyway.
It certainly does.
So what's that, the hippocampus and the hypothalamus working in conjunction or something, is it, I understand?
There's some work on that and some theories on that. It has to be said that a lot of brain chemistry is poorly understood because it's not that easy to investigate the brain and take samples and take levels, because...
What do you use?
Go biopsying people's brains.
Not while they're alive, anyway.
But certainly the hippocampus and the hypothalamus feed in to the pituitary, which then leads on to a production of a hormone, which is far too long a name for me to say, but that leads to the adrenal glands to producing more cortisol. And there's a feedback loop there. And laughter seems to work in on that feedback loop so as to stop the production through the hypothalamus, through the pituitary, and reduces the signal to the adrenals. End result, less cortisol produced, less adrenaline, less stress hormones generally produced from the adrenal glands.
Which could be a good thing.
Of course it's a good thing.
Look, I had a few years, almost 10 after a bike accident, of post-traumatic stress disorder and clinical depression. And it wasn't until I started laughing that all seemed to sort of slip away.
Yeah, and look,
Proof positive, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
I think that's how you started on this journey, wasn't it?
It is actually, but the thing is, beforehand, every time something came up in my life that seemed to take away from my ability to have control over what a situation, I'd go into this spiral of depression, and little things could trigger it off. Before I knew it, I was back down in the hole again.
And laughter can turn that around?
Well, I mean, I went off all of the drugs and I started laughing. And I don't have any of the symptoms. I'm not depressed. I'm a happy person. I'm not depressed. I don't have any depression, any sort of signs of depression. And I'm able to laugh more and more. The more I laugh, the more I can laugh.
So you're a walking, living version of what we're talking about.
Basically.
And look, I see it every day in my practice. The focus of the modern world is on unhappiness. This person is unhappy, what can we do about it? This person is anxious, what can we do about it? What drugs, what therapies, whatever. But the focus is on the person being negative or unhappy or miserable.
Yeah.
And I think it would probably be more beneficial to look at it from the point of view, how do we make this person happy? You know, what creates happiness? Rather than looking for the causes of misery, which are very easy to find, let's look for the causes of happiness.
We know the cause.
A great one.
We know the cause of happiness. There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path, as the great Buddha said, which to me means you choose to be happy. You're either happy or you're not. And if you choose to be happy, you're happy. If you want to be happy, it's because you're not.
So, boys, how could we market this? This is a fabulous idea.
Did you know, look, to laugh, the first thing to me for laughter is smiling. If you smile, you change your brain chemistry. So, by the simple act of smiling, you start the laugh. A saying that I maybe not came up with, it sort of hit me in the head one day when I was driving the car, was a smile is the conception of laughter, and laughter is the birth of a smile. And to me, that was the key. Smiling started the laughing, and the laughing created more laughter.
Great discovery.
And
let's do a little experiment.
Folks at home, the $64 million, billion, trillion dollar question. How do you become happy? Simple answer, you choose. You choose to smile, and that'll start the ball rolling. So if we all just have a little bit of a smile, and I find as soon as I smile, I get tingles in my brain. I don't know why. That's weird.
Is there a medical answer to that question?
Oh, that's too tempting, and I'm not going to.
So from that small little smile, then you have a little chuckle, and it just has to be a little one. It can be fake.
And it's infectious.
I'll give you guys some more work. If I infect everybody on the planet, you'll have more work. Everyone will be infected. And I'll have to go see doctors.
No, we'll have less work.
That's it.
We'll have less work.
You can play more golf. More salsa.
I might retrain as an orthodontist. God knows they make more money. So thank you, Ian, for setting me on my path towards becoming an orthodontist.
That's no problem. You could always be a workshop doctor.
Good.
Why not?
Dr. Tim, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for coming down. I know it's early for you.
No worries.
Good luck. Thanks for coming, man. Keep laughing. I will. You too. You can laugh at this, can't you? Thank you, everyone.